Hawks.
It was unique. Welcome to episode 2 of RACE46. We are taking this 245,000 mile E46 to Gingerman Raceway on the shores of South Haven, Michigan. And we're going to again put it through another 4-hour endurance and see how she does.
We really actually were pretty prepped. We knew after Mid-Ohio that we needed brake pads. So we got some new supplies in for our endurance racing. We're gonna switch out to some Brembo rotors and Hawk HT10 pads. These are really popular Spec E46 pads. We'll switch out with some Hawk 660 brake fluid as well. This is what's in the car already, but it's good to do it flush. We're doing a full brake everything, so we're gonna go ahead and flush it too. And we're gonna throw it on. Nothing to it but to do it.
What are you working on here, Chris?
I am splicing into a fuse to run our cool suit system off of.
Personally, game changer for me, but I've been using one for a couple years, and so we basically got these guys into it. You already have been using one, but that was your first experience.
Yeah, it was unique for the first time you turn it on, and then it like courses through the shirt and you're like, oh, that's cold. It was a game changer. It was 95 degrees average at Gingerman. It was just us three, so we were driving about an hour 20 minutes each, and it really starts to get to you after about 20 minutes, and so having that cool suit for the entirety of it was a game changer, absolutely.
That's not sponsor content, by the way. Like, we just paid for it retail because they're that good and added a cool shirt or cool suit. I don't remember which brand we have, but yeah, it's basically a cooler full of water that in a little tiny bilge pump that pumps it through your suit.
They flipped the switches.
They flipped it from the back.
The wires going into the bottom on the positive were reversed.
All right, so now we have to figure out where to run this so that a person can sit.
We ended up doing a staggered setup where we ran HT10s in the front and HP pluses in the rear, and that worked out perfectly.
Car feels awesome. Brake balance is superb. Thank you so much, Hawk. Oh my God. So we got fresh Brembo rotors, Hawk pads. The combo's fantastic. Perfect balance, finally.
I gained a lot more confidence with this brake setup than with our previous one, because when we were looking at the data, I was putting out nearly 0.9 Gs in brake force, which was significantly more than I was doing before.
Yeah, I think all the data for this event was significantly better than last year. So 1.3 Gs of lateral grip on, well, not these tires, but the 340 treadwear tires from Goodyear. That's respectable. I mean, that's what I'm getting in my Miata on old Toyo RRs. So for a street tire to be hanging on to 1.3 Gs was pretty good.
Before we take this car on track and see what it can do, we want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors. H&R for all of our suspension needs. We've got Schaeffler for all of our bearing needs. Powerflex with all of our wonderful bushings. Goodyear to keep us stuck to the track. Mila with all of our control arms, tie rods, and end links. We've got Hanks, that keeps all of our filters clean. Liquid Molly's keeps us lubed and running. And CFS keeps us cool. And thanks to Hawk and Brembo for all of our stopping power. Big shout out to the National Autosport Association as well, with all of their instructors and officials that keep our track days and weekends a lot of fun. You can find all the parts on this vehicle for your vehicle at ecstuning.com or turnermotorsport.com. Let's get back to the track.
The race start was pretty eventful. We had comp school, which is where people are getting their wheel-to-wheel licenses that weekend. So it's like some of their first race starts. So that was an interesting start to the Enduro. And at the 45 mark, they're gonna throw a green flag with a checkered flag. That's not for us to pit, but it's a free 45-minute marker. So I'm gonna bring it in a lap later. We'll do a 5-minute pit stop. I don't even think we need to add fuel. We just need to get the 5-minute pit stop and then I'll go again. Found the car was really difficult to drive at Gingerman. There's no straight lines. There's like 2 straight lines on the whole racetrack and the rest is turns. So in the middle of pit, I think you were fueling and Chatfield, you were up front.
Do you need anything?
Yeah, so much adjustment. This thing sucks. I just need a suspension change because we got to change the dampening. We had it pretty soft for mid-O, which was recently repaved and really smooth, so we didn't really notice it. So we added about 4 clicks to the front on the H&Rs, 2 clicks to the rear on the H&Rs. Oh my gosh, that was like night and day difference. Oh, so much better after the suspension changes. What was that, 4 clicks in the front, 2 in the rear?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll actually roll over the bumps now and stay
Nice.
like planted.
It's not like bouncy.
It was so squishy. It was like,
Yeah.
You can feel it bouncing and rebound, but the tires actually go back to the ground now.
Yeah.
So it's perfect adjustment.
Well, and it was great too because we were able to adjust all 4 coilovers in pit within our 5-minute time window.
I was inside the car, turned the wheel. Chatfield spun them up from the bottom. Same on the rear was easier access.
Yeah, just
so
pop
like,
the trunk, you got them right there on top.
yeah, that was
Very easy to adjust.
Even on our GTI from last year, the camber plates up top made getting to those adjusters difficult. So just having them on the bottom at first was strange to me, but now I get it. You just turn the wheel, put 4 clicks in and you go. So yeah, that really unlocked the rest of the weekend, I think. That suspension change, the car was planted, play B footage of wrecking a camera. That was pre-suspension change. No more cameras were harmed in the making of this film after the suspension change. But then after that, I sort of slotted in with similar lapping traffic. And that's what I like about Enduros is it was just 45 minutes of laps. Couple of passes, but just putting in laps, working on line.
I spent a good portion of 10 to 12 laps chasing down this Camaro. And I finally caught up to him and he pit. And I was so frustrated that I couldn't just actually pass him.
Some of the biggest thrills I've had while racing are just catching somebody or at least just following behind them. Seeing their line, seeing your line, seeing how, if they make a mistake, see if you catch up and you can watch what they do and learn from it, whether or not it's what to do or what not to do and figure out, try to, that whole chess game to start to plan to actually making a move, which is really cool, like that whole racecraft side of things.
Yeah. You guys are in the HPDE program, which is teaching you those offline drills, the passing drills, etc. And like, it would have been sweet for you to get to use it in the Enduro as like you're setting it up and then, all right, here's all my classroom time coming in with the offline passing drill.
And it was my first time in HPDE 3 at Gingerman. And so I think having now done those drills, a lot of that can come into play at Pitt.
It makes you a lot more confident with especially close proximity to other cars.
Absolutely. I actually did feel that confidence in the other drivers near me as we're going 3 wide through a turn. Like, I wasn't scared they were gonna make a wrong move or something. They were predictable. We got through and everything went well. We did have an issue during the race though with our transponder, which meant that the race officials weren't picking up our laps. And so we weren't getting counted for the laps.
I gotta mess with the transponder, that's the bad news.
Yeah, I figured.
Did it get any of our laps? But we'll talk about it.
They eventually started hand counting, which props to them. Thank you, NASA.
Thanks to that hand count, we were able to hand count enough laps. And even just with the hand counted laps, we still beat the next team.
We made it and we hit 245,000 miles.
Really, 245?
Yeah, look at it.
And she's still running.
Still purring.
We weren't super fast. We're on the 340 treadwears from Goodyear, which are just a good enduranceable tire. We just ran and ran and ran and ran and never had to stop. So,
and which was great because that really impressed me more with the car, because a lot of the other teams ran and ran and then didn't run anymore. There was a lot of teams went out that race.
I will say, I think with the changes, the slight changes that we keep making, I could definitely tell we're getting incrementally closer and closer and closer to that spec E46 level, which is really cool to see.
So it was funny, we were lapping with Bill Griffin, who is out there in an E46. I had like 45 minutes of just he and I lapping, and afterwards he comes up and he goes, "You are way over braking your turns." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, we don't have any ABS." And he's like, "Oh." Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because these cars are notoriously rear twitchy without ABS. So again, thank you to Hawk, DJ, and Mitch for sorting us out.
One other thing that I hadn't noted for the Enduro was we started to really push the limits on fuel life. We're finding the limits of, how low can we go with the fuel system. And, once we keep increasing the performance and increasing the grip of the car, the fuel cut is going to be that much more noticeable because, under what, 3/8 of a tank, I think it was.
It'll be interesting to see the difference at Pitt because they also have a lot of elevation change and it's a longer track.
And it has that very similar sweepy turn into uphill section. So yeah, we'll have to see how fuel cut goes at Pitt.
To prepare for Pitt, we need to figure out what tires we want to use. Well, we're not going to have time to put in an ABS module. That's going to probably be after this season. As far as the car goes, there's not a lot of adjustments we need to do. As far as drivers go, I know that I definitely need to refresh with the course and probably watch some videos, look at track maps, and remember my lines and how that course drives. I know you've probably done it.
Yeah, I got
a
couple hundred laps, probably even a couple thousand laps at Pitt. For me, I think car is basically ready to go. It's about some of the creature comfort stuff, right? Like getting the radios in, I think
radios is the big one.
Pitt race is really big too, so radios might be a little more useful than Gingerman. You can kind of see the whole track. I think we're in driver mod territory now. Probably a couple more suspension tweaks with sway bar settings and/or dampening settings. Put the passenger seat in. We want to take you guys for rides. So by the time you see this, Pitt race will probably have already happened. But we meet 10, 12, 15 people at any given weekend and just shoot the breeze. So now we'll get to take them for rides. So that's going to be fun. I hope you guys like watching these Enduro videos as much as we enjoy making them. If you do, please like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what you want to see. We are there for 24 hours. We can get anything. So if you're curious what other cars are in paddock, how our car looks on track, what do we do mechanically in the pits, let us know and we'll cover it for you.
We knew it was gonna happen.
No. Oh. Well.
Where's the GTI? We'll take that out.
Mm-hmm.